What if the most dangerous man in WWE just made the biggest mistake of his career by waking up the one person he should have left alone? Stick with me, because what happened tonight changes everything heading into WrestleMania. I genuinely thought Brock Lesnar had broken him. I mean that sincerely. After witnessing that brutal parking garage ambush, after watching Oba Femi get crushed inside his own car like he was just another obstacle, I sat alone in the dark and found myself wondering if we would ever see that same dominant, unstoppable four-step inside a WWE ring again. The Nigerian ruler looked human for the very first time in his career, and for days following that attack, there was absolutely nothing from him. No interviews, no social media activity, no passionate promos, just a heavy, unsettling silence that spoke volumes. I started to seriously consider the possibility that maybe, just maybe, Brock Lesnar had finally found someone he could truly and completely destroy. But tonight Oba Femi finally broke that silence, and let me tell you, the entire wrestling world just got put on notice. And before we get any further into what he said and what it means, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because you are watching Wrestling Juice. The Nigerian nightmare just woke up, and you absolutely cannot afford to miss what comes next. You have to understand the full weight of this moment to appreciate why tonight felt so significant. Oba Femi is not just another wrestler filling a spot on the card. He is a former two-time NXT champion, a man who walked through the doors of WWE and systematically dominated every single person placed in front of him. He dropped Brock Lesnar on back-to-back episodes of Raw, stood over the beast with his foot pressed firmly against his chest, and pointed directly at the WrestleMania sign with complete and total confidence. This is a man who has never, in any chapter of his career, backed down from anyone or anything. But that attack after Raw was something entirely different from anything we had seen before. That was not a wrestling match governed by rules and referees. That was Brock Lesnar sending a brutal, calculated message to Oba Femi that when the beast decides to operate outside the boundaries, there are no rules, no limitations, and no one coming to save you. And for the first time in his entire career, Femi looked genuinely vulnerable. The Nigerian fans who have been passionately cheering him since day one were deeply worried. His family back in Lagos was worried. And honestly, sitting here watching it all unfold, I was worried too. Here is what had been gnawing at me throughout all of this. Brock Lesnar does not simply beat people in the conventional sense of the word. He gets deep inside their heads and makes them question everything they believed about themselves. He plants seeds of doubt that grow into something far more damaging than any physical attack ever could be. That backstage ambush was engineered with a very specific psychological purpose in mind. The Beast wanted Oba Femi to feel completely helpless, to sit alone in recovery and realize that no matter how powerful you are, no matter how dominant your run has been, there is always someone bigger, more ruthless, and more unpredictable lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment. The challenge facing Femi was no longer purely physical. It had evolved into something far more complex and deeply personal. Could he genuinely come back from an attack that was designed not just to hurt his body, but to shatter his identity? Could he look at himself in the mirror during those quiet, painful days and still believe without hesitation that he was the ruler? Or would the doubt slowly creep in, the fear quietly take hold, and that remarkable confidence begin to fracture from the inside out? I honestly had no idea which direction this was going to go, and that uncertainty made tonight feel incredibly important. Tonight, Oba Femi appeared publicly for the first time since that attack, and when his music hit and he walked out, the crowd genuinely did not know what to expect from him. Would he come out angry and explosive? Would he appear broken and subdued? Would he come out quietly and measured? He walked to the center of that ring, and for what felt like an uncomfortably long eternity, he simply stood there and stared directly into the camera with an expression that was impossible to fully read. There was no smile, no swagger, none of the usual bravado. There was only raw, completely unfiltered intensity radiating from every part of him. And then he spoke. His voice was low and controlled, almost unnervingly calm, but underneath every single word you could feel an absolute inferno burning. He said Brock Lesnar genuinely believed he had him exactly where he wanted him. He said the Beast was convinced he could break the ruler in a dark, empty parking lot with no cameras rolling and no audience watching. And then he paused in a way that made the entire arena hold its breath. He looked directly into the lens with those eyes and said, "This is not over yet." The crowd erupted in a way that I have not heard in a long time, but it was not the typical reaction to a good promo. It was something far deeper and more emotionally layered than that. It was relief, it was hope, it was the collective realization from thousands of people simultaneously that the man they had invested their belief in was still standing tall. He spoke about coming from Nigeria, from a country that understands struggle and knows how to fight through it, from a people who do not surrender when the circumstances become difficult and the odds stack against them. And then he made a promise that landed with enormous weight. He promised that at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar would finally and completely understand what it truly means to stand across the ring from the ruler. I have been thinking about this continuously since it happened, and here is the conclusion I keep arriving at. Oba Femi did not simply cut a wrestling promo tonight. He sent a deeply personal message to everyone who had begun to doubt him, and perhaps most importantly, he sent that message to himself. Brock Lesnar set out to break his spirit, but in doing so, he accidentally triggered something he never anticipated. He reminded Oba Femi of exactly who he is, where he comes from, and what he is genuinely capable of when his back is pressed against the wall. The reaction from the Nigerian fanbase right now is something truly special to witness. I have been scrolling through social media since the segment ended, and the response from his home country is unlike anything I have seen in recent memory. They are proud, they are vocal, they are emotional, and they are fully ready to watch their superstar accomplish something that the entire world said was impossible. This rivalry has transcended the boundaries of a standard wrestling feud. It is no longer simply about winning a championship match at WrestleMania. This is about representation on the grandest stage in professional wrestling. This is about proving that a kid from Lagos can look the most feared man in sports entertainment directly in the eyes and not blink once. Oba Femi said tonight that this is not over yet, and I believe every single word of it. Brock Lesnar may have won that particular battle in the parking garage, but the war between these two men is only just beginning to heat up. And if there is one thing that following Oba Femi's career has taught me, it is that he absolutely does not lose the same way twice. He learns, he adapts, and he comes back with a level of focus and ferocity that is genuinely frightening to think about. Brock Lesnar thought he had Oba Femi precisely where he wanted him, broken down, scared, and defeated before the biggest match of his life. But tonight, the Nigerian ruler stood in the center of that ring and proved to the entire world that a true champion cannot be kept down no matter what is thrown at him. He is still standing, he is still fighting, and he just made a promise to the world that WrestleMania will be the night the Beast finally falls. Now I want to hear from you. After hearing everything Oba Femi said tonight, do you genuinely believe he can walk into WrestleMania and defeat Brock Lesnar? Or is the Beast about to prove him wrong one final, devastating time? Drop your thoughts down in the comments section, because I read everything and this conversation is one I truly want to have with you all. If you are ready to see the Nigerian ruler shock the entire world on the grandest stage of them all, hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed to Wrestling Juice so you never miss a single moment of coverage. This is Wrestling Juice signing off. The ruler has spoken, and WrestleMania will never be the same again.